Reality radio done right.
No nonsense, real and raw, just like you like it.
He's corrupt, he's inexperienced, and he lies.
Broadcasting from a broom closet in the Arizona Lotus Studios, it's Beef Vegan Presents.
Yo, welcome back to the show. It's Beef Vegan Presents live on Rock 102.1 KFMA, streaming worldwide at KFMA.com. Good morning, Weirdo.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tucson. On this beautiful Wednesday, March 8th. Oh, you got a grand show lined up for you as always. And Weirdo and I are matching today. You know, just rocking the black. Yeah. We're emo kids today, which is good because we're gearing up for another emo bracket, the March Sadness. So, this one's going to be bigger and better. If some of you recall, if you follow us on the social medias, last year around this time, right before the NCAA tournament, we revealed our March Sadness bracket, trying to find the most emo band of all time in 2022, right? And went through the usual suspects and whatnot, and then had our listeners and the social media followers vote. And then we crowned a winner, and I totally forgot what the winner was. That was last year. This year, we're doing it again, but this time we're doing it with songs. It's the most emo song, and we got some listener bait attached to it. So the grand prize after we do our 3-week run of our March Sadness bracket will be a flyaway trip to the When We Were Young Festival with hotel and airfare included. Oh,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be big. So I'm stoked about that. We're whipping together. We got the songs together. Powers is busy whipping together the graphics that we're going to be posting on social media. You're going to be hearing those clips starting Monday morning, and then you're going to vote for your favorite song. And how you're going to win this grand prize is if you basically get a perfect bracket. Like you pick the winner all the way through, whatever the song may be. If the first round you voted for that song, good. And then the second round you voted for that song, even better. And then the third round and fourth round, if you voted for that same song, you were qualified to win that grand prize. And whoever's left standing will randomly draw the winner from there. And then the grand prize flying away and being emo all over again in Las Vegas. So it's going to be a good time, and I'm super stoked about that. So anything that's a music-driven promotion on this music station that reminds us of some like classics that we don't play on the station necessarily, I'm so geeked. I mean, going through the list, I'm just like, oh, I get to play this song. I get to play. I'm ready, man. I mean, yeah, I love Nirvana too, but I'm ready to play some other stuff as well.
Yeah, looking through the list, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard that. Go play right there right now.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And we might, I don't want to burn it out, but we might jam out a little bit. You know, during commercial breaks, Weirdo and I, we like to dance and start a little mosh pit in the studio. Happy International Women's Day, Weirdo.
It is.
Yeah, did you know that?
I forgot.
Yeah.
I never know what day of the month it is.
You got to put it on your calendar, but in honor of International Women's Day, I actually have a list, and this was a Reddit thread of things that apparently aren't for women or not designed for women. Because yes, it is International Women's Day, but man's world.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe that it's a man's world, let me give you some examples of things that are designed that are very much unisex, but designed for a man.
Right.
First and foremost, and I think the biggest one is comfort and safety in cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So seatbelts that fit more naturally for women, particularly those with large breast assists. Those are the ones, and you see it like they usually the boobs like swallow up the seatbelt.
Yeah.
And that can't be comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, I do all right because I'm not large breasted, but it can still cut.
Yeah, I believe you and I share the same cup size. And then they need to start utilizing crash test dummies with women's body types, including pregnant ones, for automotive testing. But the problem is the scientists there are very lonely. And if you do have crash test dummies with large boobs, there's a good chance that they're going to take them home after the testing. So, keep an eye on them scientists when they're testing this out. Also, tools, gardening equipment, and cooking knives that are designed for people with smaller hands and grips. They don't have those.
They do, but the problem is, like, I went to the tool store and I was like, I needed some good gardening gloves. I wanted just black, small black ones. No, all the smalls are in pink and teal and purple, and I'm like,
yeah.
I just give a neutral color.
But it's for a lady.
Yeah.
It's dainty and pretty for a lady. Don't you like it to be pink? You're a little girly girl. You want some flowers on it? Yeah, that's sexist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's not me.
I
I'm
know.
making fun of the industry that says women can't have things in black because that's a man's color. You're going to have rainbow colors. You're going to have a lot of pink. You want a unicorn on it? You got it, girl. But you want anything like a lightning bolt? Nah, it's too manly.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. You want a skull? Nope, not today, son.
That's all that I want is lightning bolts and skulls.
I know you
and
do.
black.
I know. Those are all man things. All right. This one, massage table they say massage tables could have boob holes for better comfort. And just like that, a new fetish was born. I am now picturing, I'm like, oh man, got to go to Pornhub with that one. Wouldn't that be a fun time? All right. Also, like fitness bicycles with wider seats for women. Have you had an issue with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can buy seats designed for women, but at gyms, they're really small, and I don't know how wide they would need the seats, but I would guess like the width of my face. And finally,
I hate you so much right now.
Well, I'm just saying, I've never had anyone slip off yet, weirdo. All right, we're gonna have some morning walk. All right, that's enough of that. Please welcome back to the podcast broadcast. That was our show open, and I'd like to introduce you our guest for the podcast broadcast. Very excited have him back on. I've known about Jim and known Jim for years. Jim Louvau, everybody. Good morning, Jim. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. All right.
Oh.
We have a lot of catching up to do with Jim Louvau. And again, like I said, on the FM side, you've probably seen his work and didn't even know it was his work. But Jim's been connected with rock stars of all calibers for many, many years. And he's a rock star himself, not only a musician who we're going to debut their lead single, Fame Whore, from the band There Is No Us. Which was the graphic that we showed at the beginning of the podcast, but also all the great photography that Jim has done over the years with a who's who of rock and roll royalty, really. And so that's just on the agenda today. How you feeling so far, Jim?
I'm awake. That's a good start.
That is always a good start. Here, I'm going to pull up right off the bat here, and we're going to get on the FM side to do a tease. So if you go to Louvau.com, you're going to see some of these images. And right off the bat, I want to play a little game, okay? It's Name That Rock Star. All right, weirdo. And all the streamers, go ahead and type it in. As you're seeing these prolific ones, I wonder. So obviously this one, Icon, and is on our, whoops, and go back, on our sister station. Who's that rock star?
Are you asking me or are you giving them time?
Asking you.
Oh, it's Alice Cooper.
Yeah. And give everyone time. This one, you know these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Black Veil Brides.
All right. Are you okay? You about to slide out your chair?
I don't like them. Anyway, moving on.
You don't like Black Veil Brides?
I don't. I actually don't.
How was Black Veil Brides in person there, Jim? How'd you come about shooting them?
So their manager reached out to me right before they started that Trinity of Terror tour, which actually started at Basic Amphitheater last year. And they were in town rehearsing, and they were looking to do a photo shoot and looking for a Phoenix photographer. So their day-to-day manager reached out to their actual manager, Blasco, and was like, hey, I got a guy in Phoenix. And they came in, and CC, their drummer, I've known for quite a while, but I hadn't really known the other guys very well. And it took a little bit of time for Andy to warm up. But once he saw what we were doing, he got excited. Then, the rest is history.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic photo. They're good looking dudes. They definitely got the look.
Well, as a photographer, there's people that are easy to shoot and there's people that aren't. And I found out years ago that I was one of those people that's not easy to shoot. Go figure. But what is the process to get a band like this comfortable and to go along with whatever you're picturing as far as what you want to capture?
So really, like, when you're working with an artist or band who's done a gazillion photo shoots, like, no one really enjoys photo shoots or videos. So my job, and since I'm on both sides of the coin, I understand it. So I really try to make it as, sort of low stress and laid back as possible. but also like having confidence and knowing what I'm trying to accomplish, and kind of showing them what's going on as we're kind of building on the shoot, or as we're getting started, and people are like, well, I've really never seen anything that looked like this. So it's really about providing a different artistic experience, which is kind of always what I'm looking to do. And once people sort of get that vibe, then the I don't know, the doors come off basically, and the walls come down, and everyone's just there to be creative and have a good time.
Yeah, we're talking with a world-renowned photographer, and that's how I describe you, Jim. Jim Louvau, who's also lead singer There Is No Us, who we're going to be debuting their single here shortly in the show. It's called Fame Whore, and it slaps. I can't wait to share this with you. The first debut. Now, we debuted it on the station Sunday night, but like incoming.
Right.
But this will be the first drive time debut, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to share with you. Plus, on the podcast broadcast, not only we're going to go through some of the legendary images that Jim has been able to capture with the who's who of rock royalty. I want to get some stories behind it, and also go down the rabbit hole of the new project There Is No Us, because it's a fantastic band and currently unsigned, but that could change at any moment because they got all the goods and the right people are paying attention. So all that more is coming up on the podcast broadcast. You can join us, youtube.com/bevegan, or keep it right here because we got that with your TMI Top 5 after Disturbed's Bad Man and Rock 102.1 KFMA. All right, so we just were on the FM side there. So the podcast broadcast, Jim, I don't know if I got to explain it to you. We go back and forth from the FM to just talking here. And so sometimes, and it's good that you kept it clean, but I got a dump button. Sometimes I'll have to back sell what we're doing because we'll jump in kind of mid-conversation.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
you did make a little bit of an error there because we are signed now.
Oh, yeah. Where are you signed to?
We signed to Cleopatra Records in November.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Okay. Cleopatra Records. And just get used to it, Jim. I mean, you know me for years. It's not going to be the last mistake that I'm going to make. There'll be many flubs, so feel free to be like, actually, correction. I mean, and we'll keep a tally because I got plenty of incorrect statements that will come out through, and it's the caffeine's fault, to be honest with you. Cleopatra Records. Who else is on that record label?
Actually, Jane in the Jungle from Phoenix also is on that label, and they're a band that I've directed videos for, and I do all of their photography and a lot of their artwork. So I think that relationship that I have with them also helped get them at least their foot in the door.
Right.
And I also think that it opened more doors for me because we had already started talking to Cleopatra like in the middle of last year, and things just kind of stalled for a while, and I didn't really know exactly where we were headed or if we were headed anywhere with them. And eventually, like, I'm someone, I'll just kick down the doors until you don't tell me no anymore. And that's how I've gotten everything I've ever done. Everyone wants to do this stuff. It's all fun until you have to really work. Like, the work is now after the record deal, and and these opportunities, like, this becomes a 7-day 24/7 type of job on top of all the other things that myself and other guys in the band do. So it's cool, but it's a whole thing.
Yeah, no, and I relate a lot to all that, and that's essentially we're a similar beast, right? A lot of people want to play this part, but when it's time to actually put in the work, that's where the real ones step up and the fake ones kind of fade away, right? You really have to grind, and in this industry, it's the same industry. It's the entertainment industry, and you have to work. Right. And the musicians who make it to that next level are the ones that put in the actual work to make it happen and understand it's a business as well. But the art part of it has to be good as well. And like I said, when I debut this song, it's fire. I played this for Weirdo last week, actually.
I was stoked because I'm always looking for more music similar to what you're playing, kind of metalcore, kind of into that. And we're looking for somebody that's local to Arizona because we're not getting a lot of acts to Arizona that we can go and support all the time.
Right. Yeah, and sometimes you just got to look in your own backyard. Luckily, this entire state has plenty of talent. So, Rock 102.1 KFMA, that was Bad Man by Disturbed. We're hanging out here with the Jim Louvau from There Is No Us, which his single Fame Whore we're going to debut here in a little bit. And correction, quick first correction of the podcast broadcast. They are signed to Cleopatra Records along with Jane in the Jungle. And I'll say on the record, Jane in the Jungle was a band that surprised me because at first, when they first came on my radar, like years ago, that, I just thought, okay, this is almost like a bar band. I did not see the potential that they ended up having and exceeding. And they're a fantastic band out of Arizona as well. So, Jim, we got this new record that you're getting ready to release after the single. What's the name of the record again?
We haven't named it yet.
Oh, we could throw out terrible suggestions all day.
Can we do that? Because we need them. We're having a really hard time with the title.
Really? Okay. Well, I mean, what was the process when you put it all together? How many tracks are on this album? Is it album or EP?
It's going to be an album. I think that we're actually going to record a couple more songs here in the next couple weeks because the response so far from Fame Whore has been really great. And there's some other singles that are going to drop before the record comes out. So we have a little bit of time to sort of hash out this album title situation.
Right.
But I think that we're probably going to have 9 or 10 songs, and we're even considering doing a cover that could be a standalone single. But right now, like Fame Whore is so on the radar that we're just working this one for the moment. But the next single is going to come out in about 6 or 7 weeks.
Nice. No, I mean, and that's the thing with today's day and age. It's constantly providing content, right? But I can't wait to show this video, which you only see on the podcast broadcast stream, because Fame Whore visually is it's striking. It sticks with you. It's
I'm stoked.
It's shocking. Yeah. And the single's hard too, but it's also melodic. And are you going to record a couple more songs just to kind of get a couple more radio songs then? Because a lot of the record that I heard is like, really hard and in your face, which is good. And fans obviously want, but then of course you try to debut and get the word out about the band. And you got to play the radio game a little bit, right?
So that's sort of the tricky part, because Fame Whore, we didn't have any expectation there. Like when we were writing the record, there is no intent for radio at all, especially like FM radio. Like there's other sources of radio out there that are valuable to bands like us. Yeah. However, the terrestrial FM side is never something that we thought was even possible. And, you as a musician, you learn early on, like, chasing the dragon, which is kind of a metaphor for trying to write radio songs. Yeah, it's a real easy way to burn out, and we really like to play to our strengths. And we're not your typical active rock mainstream band, but we're like teetering on the line of something that a lot of people who listen to FM radio, they know the taste of this stuff. It's like they've had a little bit of it in the past. But a lot of people are hearing this and it's new to them. And that's exciting for radio, and it's exciting for us. So I think for us, it's more about writing songs that are memorable and catchy, but also heavy in your face. And we're not compromising ourselves artistically to please other people, because that will get you nowhere.
Right. Yeah, exactly. When you just try to chase that success. So that's the concept, basically. Write songs for yourself, not necessarily with the intention of radio, and then just inadvertently be like, actually, this would work on radio. And that's what Fame Whore does. So we're going to debut that as my one song takeover here shortly after the break. And on the podcast broadcast, we're going to continue to go to Louvau.com and get some of these behind the scenes stories on iconic images of that of Rob Zombie and Chester Bennington and so much more. YouTube.com/BeFegan, or keep it right here. It's Rock 102.1. Clear. All right. So let me pull this back up too, because I want to continue that. And then actually in just a minute, we'll play just the visual from Fame Whore. I'm trying to figure out if I got to do, because I don't want to get booted from the YouTube stream, because I'd love to play the video in its entirety as a debut on the podcast, because the video is awesome along with the song.
Yeah.
But if you want to get the audio, you're gonna have to listen to the FM side, and that way, well, I guess we're safe from getting booted off of Facebook and YouTube, right?
So frustrating.
I know. That's all right though. All right, next iconic picture here, and this is just some of your favorites that you put on Louvau.com. Here, let me try to click this.
I haven't updated that site in so long because I've been really busy. There's there's double or triple the amount of stuff that's there now that could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, you have tons of pictures of Chester because you've known Chester since way back in the day, the Grey Days time, right? And you guys used to perform shows together. So tell me a little background on this story because this is such a great shot. I've seen this picture everywhere, actually.
Yeah, that photo was used a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
I actually just saw somebody tattoo this on them last week. I get tagged in a lot of Instagram posts related to Chester. There's another photo, and we'll get to this one in a second, but there's another photo of him that I think is in the live section of the website that unfortunately when he passed away, that became one of the more iconic Chester shots that really came to be after he was gone. And it's been tattooed and drawn and sketched and like thousands of times. And it's crazy to think that something, like Chester and I were friends really since like 2000, like a few months before Hybrid Theory came out. Linkin Park played at the Mason Jar here in Phoenix when it was still called that. It was a few days before my 21st birthday. Yeah, that photo right there.
Yeah, I knew exactly what you're talking about. As soon as I went to concerts and I saw it, I'm like, that's the photo. Yeah.
Yeah. The funny thing is that morning, Chester was doing a charity thing at the Children's Hospital in Mesa, and he did an annual event called the Stars of the Season. So I knew I would always see him around October every year, even if he wasn't around like Phoenix or, we were both busy and we just didn't run into each other. I knew that I would see him really every October. So that morning I actually had to go to a wedding that night, and I told him, I was like, I'm probably not going to be able to go to your show tonight because I have to go to this wedding. And at the end of the night, I got out of that wedding early and I went and saw them play this charity thing. And I captured that shot that night, but it almost didn't happen.
Wow. So where was the charity concert at?
It was at some really fancy, like 5-star hotel it was in a courtyard of a hotel in like Chandler. And it was the first time that he had actually got Linkin Park to play this charity event. Like in years past, he had done like Dead by Sunrise or like Camp Freddy, or just like had other friends play, and he would, kind of play a song or two. But this was the first time that Linkin Park had actually played. So that was, it was a big deal. So, those charity events are great. Like I think they raised like $1 million that year, which is huge for the charity and stuff. But, like I photographed Linkin Park live a gazillion times, and I didn't really ever know the other guys in that band very much. I always knew Chester because when we played together at the Mason Jar back in 2000, they were actually supposed to open for my old band. And at the last minute, I got a call, said, hey, there's a guy in this band from Phoenix whose family can't get there in time. Like they need to show up later. Would you mind switching spots? And I was like, yeah. It was like a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I was like, well, we can go home earlier that night. And it was a few days before my 21st birthday, which we were playing at the same place.
Right. So yeah, it didn't matter. Like, your big show was your 21st birthday. Yeah.
And funny part about the 21st birthday is the opening band on that show was Alien Ant Farm, and I didn't even see him play. Yeah. Yeah. So long story short, like Chester came out and saw us play. And at that point, I didn't know that he was a singer of Grey Days, because the only time I had actually like seen Grey Days in person, he had really long dreads and he was a different looking guy.
Right. Yeah.
And we broke a snare drum in the middle of our set, and comes to the rescue. Chester gets up there, and I'm like trying to buy time on stage, and Chester goes and get the Linkin Park snare drum from their drummer. And that's how we finished our set. And then obviously like One Step Closer blew up, and we kept in contact. I mean, really from the time we met and until, the very end of his life. Like, I think the last time I spoke to him was like 8 or 9 days before he passed away. So
Yeah.
it was, you know, it's all very bittersweet. I'm glad that the photos exist and we have those memories and people can enjoy them. But I miss that guy a lot. I think about him every day.
I'm sure. Yeah. It took everyone by surprise, obviously. I'm sure you were shocked as well. But yeah, to see that, you know, obviously his legacy and memory is going to live on forever, and then your pictures are going to be tattooed on people, you know, and they are using that to memorialize them, is a beautiful connection, inadvertently, that you'd have, because I'm sure you never went into, you know, any photographer, like any picture, thinking that this is going to be somebody's tattoo, or even
Yeah, it's weird.
yeah, and who knows how long those photos are going to last. I'm sure they're going to continue to use that for many years to come, or generations to come, when, you know, referring back to the legacy of Chester Bennington. So amazing. Let's look at another picture here of some of the stuff that Jim has done, and then we're going to get into There Is No Us, and then we're going to show obviously you got Ozzy. You gotta talk about Ozzy, man. Have you interacted with Ozzy backstage and got to hang with the man, the myth, the legend?
I have not. So this was when Black Sabbath actually did the reunion. Like, I guess it's almost been 10 years. Ozzy is kind of notoriously known as someone who they don't allow photographers to shoot his shows.
Yeah.
And this was the only opportunity that I had, at least to date. If Ozzy, you know, I don't know if Ozzy's going to be able to ever play again. I mean,
I think
hope
he's
he does.
done playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like he's trying to find other ways to like sit down, like kind of go the Phil Collins route, and he just really wants to play. Like, his voice still sounds good, and this Black Sabbath show, I was blown away that photographing Black Sabbath. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, those guys are the godfathers of heavy metal.
Yep.
And if there was an opportunity to photograph Ozzy, doing it with Black Sabbath was the move. So I remember Ozzy, as he does with the solo shows, within like the second song, he's running at me with a big old or a big old tub of water. I'm trying to hold the shot as long as I can before I'm getting drenched in water. And you know, he's a character. He's Ozzy.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna let photographers in this time, but guess what, buddy?
Yeah.
Buckle up, it's gonna be fun.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, that's funny. Did your camera escape unscathed?
It did. And the other thing that was really cool is there was a moment during that set where Tony Iommi and Ozzy interacted quite a bit, and I captured some shots of that. And I got an email from Tony Iommi's manager the next day. He's like, "Hey, mate, like, this moment that happened that you captured is not something that happens every night. Like, Ozzy kind of sticks to his part of the stage, and so does Tony. Would you mind, you know, sending us a copy?" So eventually I got a copy to Tony Iommi, and when I think Ozzy turned 70 a few years ago, like, that was the photo that he posted on all of his socials too. So that was pretty cool.
Beautiful.
Wow, what a mind F. Like, that's so crazy.
Yeah. And that's great. And that's the way that I presented Jim. I'm like, you guys have been appreciating his work without even knowing it for years, and shared by icons. So it's beautiful. Was there a particular act besides Ozzy? Obviously, we talked about Ozzy and Chester. Was there anyone that you were fully stoked and like almost geeking out about being able to work with?
In a live setting, I mean, the first time I shot Radiohead, who's my favorite band of all time.
Okay,
that was. I shot Lollapalooza in like 2008, and it, like, the headliners were Nine Inch Nails, which is my biggest musical influence, and it was Rage Against the Machine, who were doing like a couple shows, like reuniting for, like, I think they did like 6 shows or something, and that Lollapalooza was one of them, and the other band was Radiohead.
Nice. I'm trying to find the Radiohead pics on here. I'm sure you got them on there as well, right?
There's some Radiohead. That's you're looking at Jonathan Davis from Korn. Right
now this wasn't a live shot, right? Or was it?
It was a live shot.
Really? Like, and then you just kind of white out the background?
I remember, like, it was almost shot that way. I don't really spend too much time editing in general, and especially with live shots. Like, I try to get it as much of in camera as possible. But yeah, that one actually looks like it could have been a studio shot. But it's Jonathan Davis's hair. Most people can figure out who it is, but that's sort of like the most mysterious looking photo in that group, I would guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Jonathan Davis, you've worked with numerous times, and here's
Yes.
another just a self portrait and stuff. Tell me the story behind this and how you get Jonathan to trying to just open up and try to be vulnerable with you.
So that was actually taken in Tucson, Arizona, at
When he's
KFMA
visiting his
Day.
wife. Oh, KFMA Day.
Oh,
Yeah. All right.
nice.
Yep, that was backstage at the baseball stadium.
Nice. Yeah. Which we're
And,
still trying to do. It's KFMA.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just reached out to their management and I was like, hey, like Jonathan's doing solo stuff. I'd love to shoot him. And it was that day. It was that easy. That stuff doesn't come easy. So when I tell these stories like this, these are wins. There's lots of losses to go along
Right.
with the wins. There's a lot more losses than wins.
Yeah, a lot more no's than there are yeses. Absolutely.
But the whole thing is like putting together like a track record of in a portfolio of things that people, when you see these photos, you know who the people are, and we know how people tend to, well, if you worked with this person or you can handle this person, then you can handle this person, or
Right.
I got this new artist, and it's always a different story. But you have to be able to sort of go toe to toe with these iconic, legendary rock stars, and I'm so comfortable being around these people because that's what my life has been for so long that it's a natural thing. I'm more comfortable being around those people than I am people in a grocery store. I can tell you that much.
Right. Yeah. So that's Jim Laveau, who's lead singer. There Is No Us. Gearing up to show you Fame Whore, the music video, before I debut the song. But yes, talking about how comfortable he gets rock stars and all these legendary photos that he's taken of like Ozzy Osbourne, Chester Bennington, Jonathan Davis, Radiohead, just to name a few, and the stories behind them. But yeah, I can understand that too. So you're more comfortable around rock stars than normal people at the grocery store. I want to show the imaging here of Fame Whore before we debut the song. And we're going to debut the song here after the break. It's going to be my one song takeover of the day. Fame Whore is the latest single and the debut single from There Is No Us, which is Jim Laveau's act. And we have showed a little bit the visual of this. We're going to go down the rabbit hole on youtube.com/beefvegan. Now the video looks like $1 million and it's great. And it's almost a throwback in a way to like a great gritty hardcore 90s type of vibe. And how would you best describe the plot of this music video?
Well, we were initially, really showcasing the public's love of the idea of fame and fortune and attention. And that's where the TVs and that aspect of the video, that was sort of the game plan going in. And we shot 2 videos over the course of 3 days. And I think after we wrapped the first day, we went out to sushi and we were sitting at the bar eating, and it happened to be a night where there was drag queen bingo.
Okay.
Nice.
Oddly enough, I look over at Andy, our guitar player, and I was like, drag queen bingo. He's like, well, we might as well play. We're sitting here. So he won. And right before he had won, someone else had won, and they're basically giving out sex toys. So I was like, oh man, I'm glad you won, and I didn't. I don't know what you're gonna go up there and get. Well,
yeah,
he won a ball gag.
Yeah, nice.
So
yeah.
I immediately am starting to get the hamster wheel spinning in my head, and I'm like, how are we gonna get this ball gag in this video? And I was like, the next day when we were shooting the second single, I had this idea where I was watching the movie Seven recently, and I was thinking about just like, the 7 deadly sins and the gluttony and that stuff.
Mhm.
And I was like, essentially this song in this video is about putting lipstick on a pig. And I
Right.
said, well, what if we actually got someone putting lipstick on a pig? And I'm like, I really want to objectify both genders. So I'm like, I need a really large, overweight man who I want eating raviolis or SpaghettiOs, sitting there watching, these stars in reality TV, and
All the garbage television.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden the girl is involved, and it's almost like she appears to be like could be trapped in his crazy, multimedia dungeon. And
Yeah.
you don't know that when the mask comes off that it's going to be her.
Right.
And so the funny thing is the guy is our friend Greg, who kind of watches over us when we play. I don't want to say bodyguard because no one's trying to kill me or attack me
Yeah.
just yet. He was basically came down to the studio, and the girl is someone who does hair on some of the music videos that I direct. And so they both came down at the same time, and I was like, you guys picked the wrong day to come down because I got something to learn. And he wouldn't do it initially, and I think he had agreed to do it, but I really wanted to get him in his underwear. I wanted it to be really gnarly.
Yeah.
And I made her ask him to do it because he would say yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
you couldn't turn down the hot chick. That's funny.
That's right.
Yeah.
We ordered the pig's mask off of Amazon, and we were hoping that it was going to get there in time, and it did, and it all fell into place. But that whole part of the video was something I just came up with 48 hours before we actually did it.
That's funny. And does it surprise me that aesthetically and visually it's appealing and beautiful because of your previous work and that of you being a photographer. So we're going to debut There Is No Us Fame Whore as my one song takeover immediately after the break. So stick around on Rock 102.1 KFMA. All right. Yes. So I got one more little commercial break and then we're doing it. And we're going with full blown cranking it up. And yeah, so you had to use the hot chick, the honeypot him basically. How's he about it now? Is he still cool with being a star in this video? And
yeah, I think so.
Have you talked to him?
I hope so.
Yeah, you better hope so, or you're gonna wake up in a dungeon with a pig mask on.
We're actually gonna give him the ball gag for Christmas, and I forgot about
that. Pay him with that.
Yeah. So that video was shot in my studio in downtown Phoenix, and I co-directed the video with my video partner Tony Aguilera too. So we've been working on music videos since pandemic, and that was kind of when things kind of took a really weird turn for me, and I've never had any ambition of being a director, and that was kind of one of the things that got me through COVID, was this newfound sort of medium. And so when it came time to make our videos, we had a pretty good idea of what we were trying to do.
Nice.
Yeah. And how long have you held studio space down in downtown Phoenix?
We've been in the same spot for a couple of years now. So we've had a lot of characters in and out of there, and some of the photos, like the Alice Cooper stuff that you just looked at, and the Black Veil Bride stuff, that was all shot in the studio. And I mean, we have a cast of characters in that place on a regular basis. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, working hard and making a living, being a fantastic photographer. I've known Jim. I got him on my station up in Phoenix years back. Helped set him up on a weekly show that he was doing on KWSS, and that's how I first got to know Jim. And going to his house and seeing the different photos and all these memories that he's acquired over the years, super impressive, super cool. And you can see some of those photos right behind him. You got this great portfolio. Yeah, and it looks good, man. Looks good. Yeah. And then so we also want to announce that we have a well, I guess we could do it after we do the debut. So here's what we'll do on the podcast broadcast. We got a couple minutes, and then we'll go on the air, and I'll have you debut the song.
Cool.
And then I'll play a clip from earlier that Weirdo and I did, so I can rock out the song through my speakers here. And I encourage everyone to do both. Watch the stream, and of course, listen to the radio and crank it up so you can hear this song and how it sounds through the transistor radio, because it sounds good. And like I said, I gave the test to Weirdo, the car test, and it passed with flying colors. Yeah. And it's one of those songs that is both melodic and radio friendly, and at the same time in your face and aggressive and hard, so it walks that fine line very well. And I know that Jim has a concert announcement up in Phoenix that we'll share, and we got the flyer for that too. So I'm excited, and we'll work on getting There Is No Us here in town and link them up with like-minded great bands and friends of ours, so we can continue to spread the gospel. It's going to be a busy year, just working hard, man.
Let's do it.
Working hard. Yeah. And, this song we're debuting it. I'm sure that it's going to find its way into rotation somewhere. So we'll figure it out. You'll be able to hear this song, Fame Whore, on the station here for, many weeks to come and hopefully longer. We'll see how it goes. When it comes to popular music, you throw it against the wall, you see what sticks, right? So
I think they're going to like it.
Yeah. And it'll be nice to have like another solid band come out of Phoenix.
Yeah. Well, I just say Arizona, because there is such a divide with Phoenix and Tucson.
That is
Tucson's
true.
very territorial. But it's still Arizona based. And there's, as we continue to focus on trying to build that bridge and a circuit between Phoenix and Tucson, that's what we need to do, is to pool our talents and it's all within our border. Arizona's been putting out great popular music for a long time, and a lot of times it gets overlooked. So, it won't make it that situation. So what we got, I'll play it next week. Dropout Kings and Dead just released a song together.
Yep.
And they're both from Phoenix.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'll play that as one of my one song takeovers next week before we get into our emo bracket stuff. All right. We got about 15 seconds. Then we're going to go live on the air. All right. I need to get some nice fancy intro for my one song takeover, but in all reality, it starts with one song. It'll be a lot more soon before he knows it.
Hopefully.
All right, Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. Now's the time that I've been waiting for all show. And I wanted you guys to get to know Jim and everything that he's been working on over the years before we debut his new single from his band, There Is No Us. And I'll actually pass over the reins to Jim himself to go ahead and intro the song for us. So, Jim, without further ado.
KFMA, this is the morning debut of There Is No Us and our new single, Fame Whore. Check it out.
All right, Claire, I'm going to rock this out through the speakers and stuff. Earlier this morning, we did our Morning Moron. And in case you missed it, it went a little something like this. All right, shine down on Rock 102.1 KFMA. It's now 6:15 and time for your Morning Moron. Let's do this. Let me ask you this here, weirdo.
What's up?
Do you ever follow through rituals, burning away negative energy or sage or any of that kind of cosmic nonsense?
Sometimes we'll sage the house or a certain kind of essential oil incense kind of thing, but nothing too much.
All right. Yeah. It seems like it's a thing that the hippies do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, there's a Utah woman who's behind bars now after admitting to starting a fire at her apartment complex to quote unquote burn away the negative energy. Now,
was the negative energy a person?
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's an apartment complex. So, spoiler alert, it's just filled with negative energy. Nobody's really positive when they're living in an apartment complex. Right. It's usually, either they're working their way up or they fell all the way down. Mm-hmm. Now, around a dozen units were damaged and several residents were displaced by the blaze Sunday morning after the 37-year-old named Crystal Moss was arrested and told police that it was her fault. So there's a couple reasons why I'm dubbing her a morning moron. Now, court documents revealed she poured a bottle of alcohol on a tree of life inside her bedroom in an effort to burn away the sadness and pain in her life. And that's sad, Crystal Moss. I get that, but there are better methods to do this and more positive, constructive ways to turn that sadness into happiness and try to turn it around, or at least try to burn away that pain inside. Maybe do something physical, read a book, or
go for a jog.
Yeah, go for a jog. Get creative. Find a creative outlet. I feel for people who feel down in despair because I get it. I feel that way too, and I try to find those ways to utilize that energy in a positive fashion. Mm-hmm. It's not always easy to do.
Go do some volunteer work.
Well, anyways, she attempted to burn that tree of life away and burn that sadness and pain in her life. And all it did was bring her more sadness and pain because now she's facing 1 felony arson charge.
Oof.
Yeah, it's not going to be good for Crystal Moss out of Utah. So for starting that fire and not having control of it, setting the rest of the apartment complex on fire because of your negative energy made everyone else's energy super negative. And that's why Crystal Moss is today's Morning One. There you have it. Did you hear that? Yes. It's a banger. Anthony's saying it's a banger. Yes. And that is good radio debut. Way to like make some noise, get people's attention. And this is something that I know that a lot of KFMA fans want this style of music more so. So excellent job, Jim. Excellent job.
Thank you.
Yeah, There Is No Us is the name of the project. And I actually have promotional. Well, you can't see it in the background, but it's there. That's how we started the podcast today. Fantastic, along with the fantastic video, which I'll share on our Facebook pages as well. So you guys can check that out, the video, along with the imaging that they put together for this. It's fantastic. So still working on details on the album when the album's going to be released, but they do have a live show up in Phoenix. If he can make it, it's at the Rebel Lounge, which is the Mason Jar that he's talked about before. You know, it's a legendary venue now owned by Psycho Steve, a local promoter up there. And for a while, and honestly, Mason Jar, I have many memories of the Mason Jar. That's why I first saw Static X. And yeah, I thought my head was going to explode with the sound and how loud they were getting there. And I'm sure it actually might be similar with There Is No Us, to be honest with you. Right up in your face. It's a great intimate venue up there. And here's the details. It's going to be April 8th at the Rebel Lounge, and it's only $15 at the door, but $13 advance with Don't Panic. And how do you pronounce that other band that's on that bill?
Sevilla.
William.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I've definitely gone to quite a few shows at Rebel Lounge. Solid venue.
Yeah, no, it's cool. He's been doing good work up there. So shout out to Psycho Steve. And it's almost a full circle moment if you're going to be. Is this going to be a debut performance from There Is No Us up there?
It's our first show in 5 years. So
yeah,
in Phoenix.
Yes. So you guys known each other and have been putting in work for years then, huh? How long have you known the crew that you're with right now?
Oh goodness, like these are two of the guys in my band are people I started playing with when I was, 18 and played our first shows ever at the Mason Jar. And I saw some of my first small club shows ever. I mean, I saw that Static X show you're talking about. I saw Queens of the Stone Age play at the Mason Jar twice. I saw Buck Cherry play there. I saw all sorts of stuff,
So you were at that Static X show too?
I was. Yeah.
We could have been kicking it the whole time, Jim.
You messed up, my man.
I know. Well, I'll tell you what, it was an introduction in a way. I was there with my bassist at the time, Nick, and he introduced me to Static X. And so it was like a cold performance and they won me over immediately. I was just like blown away. But yeah, so that's awesome. All right, we got 25 seconds for we're on the FM side. But yeah, I'm stoked for you, dude.
Real quick, what's your cat's name?
Yeah, so let's see the hairless cat you got, Dr. Evil.
Let me see if she's around.
She ran.
That's the kind of cat I want.
I found her. She's running. I gotta get her.
You can see it in the reflection of the picture.
Let's see.
Oh, look at that.
Her name is Thing.
Thing. Oh.
So Jim Laveau's showing his hairless cat that he has
with little nail caps.
Oh yeah, you painted your cat's toenails. That's your wife, dude. So how does that happen?
They're caps.
They're caps.
Oh, they're caps.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're caps.
Is that a trend?
No, it's just to keep the cats from like clawing, because declawing cats is inhumane. Like it's so bad. So now they came up with these caps so that way they don't like tear everything up.
Oh, nice.
And and you can get them in fabulous colors.
That's
the
amazing.
nails are like actual razors. They're sharper than your average cat. So
Correct.
the day that we brought the cat home, we couldn't even get home before we had to take her to get her nails clipped, and they
Oh,
weren't
wow.
long enough to cap yet. And at the end of the day, this cat exists in our home because my 6-year-old wanted the cat for Christmas. So I can't say no.
Is anyone allergic to cat hair then, or you just
No,
decide to go bald?
no. So the funny part is the artist Poppy, who I also just worked with. She has a hairless cat named Pie, and then I work with
What a great
Kat
name.
Von D from time to time, and she has like 3 hairless cats. So after my kid has been around these other cats, and after my wife sees what's going on here, like everyone wanted one, so we eventually found a breeder in Arizona and made it happen. So now we have Thing.
Those cats aren't cheap, right?
No,
No,
Damn.
no,
I
I've
don't
been
even
doing my
wanna- I-
research.
don't want to
Yeah.
tell you. It's
Yeah.
a little over the top, but
You finance that cat, so
Yeah.
you got payments,
somebody should have.
right?
Yeah.
All right, we're keeping the conversation moving with Jim Laveau from There Is No Us. You just heard Fame Whore as a Drive Time debut. That's my single song takeover. It won't be the last time you hear that song on my show or this station. I can guarantee you that. So you can join us, youtube.com/beefvegan. We'll be back with your beef tip after these words. It's Rock 102.1. Clear. Yeah, so yeah, it's one of those things where I'm just like, oh, that's a fancy cat. It's an expensive ass cat.
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't imagine paying.
I've wanted hairless Sphinx cats for years. That will be my next animal that we get, but we can't right now because we've got GSPs, which are hunting dogs. So, but yeah, I want 2 named Lucifer and Lilith, Lucy and Lily.
Okay, so
I already got him named
our regular cat, his name is Lucifer.
Lucifer.
Oh, Lucifer, yeah. Nice.
I have the black craft culture that's got the cats on it and it says
Yeah,
Lucifer.
that's where it all came from. So
Nice. Well, Jim, I can't let you leave this podcast without playing a game with us. So,
okay.
All right. So here's the deal. We're gonna play around to the last word. I'm gonna have you go up against Weirdo. Now, this is a verbal hot potato game. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a category, and you guys are gonna take turns giving answers back, but without repeating each other's answer. Whoever gets the last acceptable answer in before 30 seconds runs out wins the round, and we're gonna go best of 3. Okay, best of 3, and win the game. Okay, if it's for bragging rights and everything else. Got it?
Got it.
Sure.
All right, here we go. 30 seconds on the clock will begin. Jim, we'll start with you, and we're going to keep it very simple and in the realm of both of your expertise, okay? I need you to name a heavy metal band and go.
Black Sabbath,
Black Sabbath.
Slayer,
Slayer.
Lamb of God,
Gojira,
Slayer,
Oh, we already said Slayer. Give me another one.
Bullet for My Valentine,
There you go.
okay. Lorna Shore,
Megadeth,
Yes.
oh, Mastodon,
Okay. Say it again. I didn't hear it.
Anthrax.
Technically, you got it.
yeah, he got it. We just couldn't hear him. Yep.
That's one round there. All right. So first round goes to Jim Laveau.
Mhm.
Now, Jim, if you win the second round, you're going to win the game. Now, Weirdo, you got to step it up. Okay.
Trying.
All right. 30 seconds on the clock. We'll begin with Weirdo. Now, still in the same vein of heavy metal bands, let's talk heavy metal lead singers.
Okay.
Okay. Ready and go.
I'll go James Hetfield.
Okay.
Randy Blythe,
I always love this game because this is where I go blank. Jonathan Davis,
There you go.
Max Cavalera,
Ozzy Osbourne,
Oh,
I'm looking at my walls. I'm cheating.
Oh, ran out of time. You fucked up, Jim. I would have accepted Jim Laveau. I would have accepted your own name. You could have said yourself.
I let her have that round. I didn't want to,
Well, I always get so messed up because I call everything metal, but there's so many subcategories now. So yeah, I get
Yeah,
confused.
that's kind of what I was thinking. But I did let
That's
you win.
true.
Yeah.
And you know, I wouldn't have been a stickler though, so you
Okay.
kind of messed up on that, but that's okay. All right, here we go. Final round. Whoever wins this round wins the game. Okay, Jim, you're gonna start things off. So, give me something that you can do that would be considered metal, and go.
Mosh.
Mosh, yes.
Bungee jumping.
Okay.
That's not metal.
I don't know.
Skydiving.
Yeah, that's pretty metal.
Making metal music.
Oh, okay.
Headbanging.
Yes, that's metal.
All right. Getting drunk backstage with the band.
Yeah, that's pretty metal. All right.
Screaming.
Oh, unfortunately, we ran out of time, Jim Louvau. So we like to have our guests come on the show and be humbled by Weirdo. So congratulations, Weirdo, on getting the last word. That was good. All right. So anything that we didn't cover before we wrap things up, Jim?
No, come out to the Rebel Lounge.
Yeah, that's going to be a good show.
Wow.
And that's April 8th, or is it 8th?
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday the 8th. Let me check my schedule right here. Ew. I don't know if I'll be able to make that one. Don't know, because I have a Roadrunners game that day. We'll figure it out. I'm going to see you here one way or another. So,
Yeah.
Oh, you still there? Oh, you got cut out? Well, that was our guest, Jim Louvau.
Smooth out.
Yeah, Jim, if you can see me or hear me. Oh, there you are. Okay. And he's back. All right.
Sorry, the phone rang. Andy from there also was trying to call me.
Nice. Look at here. Let me pick up that name you just dropped. And that's what's great about Jim. He could just nonchalantly drop names left and right, like boom, boom. And that's just part of the catalog. I got to remind you guys, and I'll remind you on the FM side too, Louvau.com. Check out the website. You probably should update it, but I mean, it's good eye candy of all the stuff that you've been working on for quite some time. All right, we're going to wrap things up and give a beef tip, and then we're out of here. Let's see. All right, we're almost out of time, but of course, I'll leave you with a beef tip before we leave. And just a reminder and a thank you to our guest today from There Is No Us. We had Jim Louvau. You can go to Louvau.com to see all the great portraits of these rock and roll icons they put together. For There Is No Us, do you have a website, Jim?
Thereisnous.com.
There you go. Simple as that. You got to check out the single Fame Whore on YouTube. The music video is striking, beautiful, a little disturbing. It might be great nightmare fuel.
Oh, I'm here for it.
Exactly.
It's fantastic. So good.
Yeah. And
it's like a normal night in my house.
Yeah. Oh, so you eat SpaghettiOs for dinner. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right. Before we leave you, I'd like to give you a beef tip. Here's 3 common mistakes that people make with their customer service reps.
Okay.
So because everybody, makes these mistakes, and you got to remember some of these customer service reps, they're just people too. I mean, some of them could be a-holes, but still. So first and foremost, not having things like account numbers ready to go.
Yeah.
Try to make their job easier. You're not going to get that kind of blowback and attitude if you do so. Being completely unwilling to compromise or quit while you're ahead. That's a mistake that people tend to make with customer service. And going in hot or being rude in general. Now, this is a mistake that I make too often. Usually if I'm talking to a customer service rep, it's because I feel like I've been wronged or there's some kind of dissatisfaction going on.
Yeah.
And I'm pissed. I can't.
And I always leave that off. I'm like, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the situation and I'm frustrated. And that usually then they're cool with me.
Right. Like I'm going to drop a lot of F-bombs, but they're not directed at you per se, just the people who pay you. So they say it's usually a better strategy to be nice and get the person on your side so they want to help you. So if you're going to be a dick, they're not going to want to help you. So that's an obvious mistake that people make. So my beef tip to you, of course, and I say this often, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
All right. It's simple as that.
Solid life advice.
Thank you so much. All right. Again, thank you, Jim Louvau. There Is No Us. Of course, you can follow them on social media. Thereisnous.com as well. And then Louvau.com. That's Louvau.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. I always misspell your name, Jim.
That's right. Good job, B.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We'll talk to you again soon, and hopefully we'll see you guys playing in town even sooner. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for the show, but I thank you all for listening. Robin Nash is up next. Drive safe, ride safe, and as always, rock local. Later.
When you wish
Thank you, guys.
upon
Later
a side of
days.
beef. Soon will come an end to all your grief. But if you've been mean or kind of bad, I will knock out all your teeth.